This video won't go viral. It's about the most boring way to build wealth ever invented. No crypto moonshots, no AI stocks doubling overnight, just dividends. The same strategy your grandfather probably used. But here's what nobody tells you about boring investments. They're making more millionaires than every meme stock combined. And one of these boring ETFs is quietly paying 8.41% per year, every single month. While everyone else chases the next Tesla, the boring investors are collecting checks. Building wealth so predictably, it's almost embarrassing how simple it is. Quick disclaimer. This is educational content about dividend investing strategies and long-term wealth building. All investments carry risk, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Here's what we're covering. Why boring beats exciting every time. The compound effect that turns small dividends into serious wealth, and 4 specific ETFs doing this right now with yields from 2% all the way up to that 8.41%. I mentioned, let me tell you about Harry. 6 months ago, Harry was everything wrong with modern investing. Checking his phone every 10 minutes, buying whatever was trending on Reddit. Lost $3,000 on a SPAC he couldn't even pronounce. Then Harry discovered something that changed everything. Dividends. Not exciting, not sexy, just consistent payments hitting his account while he slept. See, boring investments have a superpower. They don't need your attention, they don't care about headlines, they just pay you. Quarter after quarter, month after month, year after year. Warren Buffett built $100 billion being boring. His favorite holding period? Forever. The math is stupidly simple. You buy shares. Companies pay you dividends. You reinvest those dividends. Those new shares pay more dividends. Compound interest does the rest. But here's where it gets interesting. The right dividend ETFs aren't just paying you income. They're growing that income every single year. And they're doing it with some of the most stable companies in existence. Think about this. Every dividend payment is proof a company has excess cash. Not promises, not projections. Actual money they're willing to give shareholders. Companies that pay consistent dividends for decades? They're not gambling with your money, they're printing it. Let's start with what most people overlook. DGRO, iShares, Core Dividend Growth ETF, only 2.04% yield. Harry almost skipped it. 2%? That's nothing. Wrong. This ETF has raised its dividend for 10 consecutive years, 10 years of increases. The 5-year total return isn't 2%, it's 93.83%. Here's what Harry missed at first. DGRO doesn't chase high yields, it chases dividend growers. Companies that increase payments year after year. Apple at 3.28%, Microsoft at 3.00%, Broadcom at 3.54%. These aren't dividend stocks, they're dividend growth machines. The expense ratio? 0.08%. You pay $8 per year on every $10,000 invested. That's less than 1 month of Netflix. But here's the genius part. DGRO holds 405 companies. You're not betting on one dividend. You're betting on 405. If one cuts, you barely notice. If most grow, you win big. The 10-year dividend growth rate sits at 8.91% annually. Your income nearly doubles every 8 years. Without touching the principal, without adding money, just growth on growth on growth. Harry started seeing it. Low yield today, high yield tomorrow. The investment portfolio that builds itself. But DGRO is just the appetizer. Because when you understand dividend growth, you're ready for something more powerful. SCHD, Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. Now we're at 3.76% yield. Almost double DGRO. But the yield isn't the story, the consistency is. 13 years of consecutive dividend growth. Not payments, growth. Every year for 13 years, shareholders got paid more than the year before. Harry put $10,000 into SCHD. At 3.76% yield, that's $376 per year. Sounds small? The 5-year total return is 78.50%. His $10,000 would be worth $17,850. Plus, all those dividends along the way. Here's the kicker. The expense ratio is 0.06%. $6 per year per $10,000. Schwab basically runs this fund at cost. They make their money elsewhere. You get nearly free access to dividend aristocrats. The top holdings read like a retirement savings blueprint. Abbey at 4.52%, Chevron at 4.41%, Home Depot at 4.28%, Cisco at 4.07%, Merck at 3.98%. Boring companies, boring dividends, boring wealth building. SCHD doesn't just pick high yielders. It screens for quality, cash flow sustainability, balance sheet strength, companies that can pay dividends through recessions. The energy sector makes up 19.54% of holdings. Energy companies that survived oil crashes and still raise dividends. That's the stability Harry never had with growth stocks. Consumer defensive at 18.84%. Companies people buy from regardless of the economy. PepsiCo, Altria. The definition of boring profitable. But what if boring could pay even more? FDVV, Fidelity High Dividend ETF. The yield drops slightly to 3.10%, but something else happens. Technology exposure, 26.07% of the fund in tech stocks. This isn't your grandfather's dividend fund. Nvidia at 6.36%. Microsoft at 5.56%. Apple at 5.19%. High dividends plus growth stocks. The combination most investors think is impossible. The 5-year return proves it works. 137.71% total return. Your money more than doubles, plus you collected dividends the entire time. Harry couldn't believe it. Tech stocks paying dividends? The dividend growth rate hit 22.04% last year. Not the stock price. The actual dividend payment grew 22%. Expense ratio holds at 0.16%. Still practically free for what you're getting. $7.02 billion in assets shows institutional money knows something retail investors miss. When boring meets growth, millionaires get made. But here's what's brilliant about FDVV. It's not just tech. Financials at 19.68%. Real estate at 11.25%. Utilities at 9.28%. Diversification across sectors that all pay dividends. Tech for growth. Utilities for stability. Real estate for inflation. Protection. The perfect boring portfolio in one ETF. The quarterly dividend consistency tells the story. Every 3 months like clockwork. $0.38 per share last quarter. Set your calendar. The money arrives. Harry learned something crucial here. Passive income streams don't require passive investments. FDVV actively rebalances, actively screens. You get active management at passive prices. But we're not done. Because one ETF breaks every rule about dividend investing. JEPI, JP Morgan Equity Premium Income ETF. 8.41% yield, not annually. That's the current annual rate, paid monthly. Harry's reaction, that can't be real. It's real. $41.28 billion in assets real. The largest active ETF in existence, real. Here's how they do it. JEPI sells covered calls on its portfolio. Complicated strategy, simple result, extra income from option premiums. You get paid every single month, like clockwork. $10,000 invested pays $841 per year. That's $70 every month hitting Harry's account. The expense ratio jumps to 0.35%, still less than most mutual funds. For monthly income this consistent, it's a bargain. But here's what makes JEPI special for beginners. The monthly payments create a psychological edge. You see progress immediately, not quarterly, not annually. Every single month proof your money is working. Harry started with $5,000 in JEPI. First month, $35. Small, right? He reinvested it. Next month, $35.29. Slightly more because he owns more shares. Fast forward 6 months. His monthly payment hit $37. The compound effect in action. The 5-year dividend growth rate? 31.03%. Your monthly payment potentially doubles every 3 years. JEPI holds different stocks than the others. Alphabet at 1.79%. Meta at 1.66%. The option strategy works best with volatile tech names. You get income from stocks that usually pay nothing. Now let's do the real math. Harry builds a boring portfolio, $2,500 in each ETF. Total investment, $10,000. Combined average yield, approximately 4.33%. That's $433 in year 1. But remember, these aren't static yields. SCHD has grown its dividend for 13 years. DGRO for 10 years. FDVV grew 22% last year. Conservative estimate, 7% annual dividend growth. By year 5, that $433 becomes $607. By year 10, $850. That's just the dividends, not counting share price appreciation. The 5-year average total return across all 4 ETFs? Over 90%. Harry's $10,000 becomes $19,000, plus growing dividend payments, plus the compound interest of reinvestment. This is how boring builds wealth. No checking prices daily, no panic selling, no FOMO buying, just dividends. Growing, compounding, building. The millionaire math works like this. Start with $10,000. Add $500 monthly. Reinvest all dividends. Average 8% total return. Conservative for these ETFs based on historical data. 20 years, $296,000. 30 years, $745,000. 35 years, $1.1 million. Boring? Absolutely. Effective? The math doesn't lie. But here's what Harry learned that changed everything. Financial planning isn't about home runs. It's about base hits. Consistent, reliable, compound base hits. You don't need all 4 ETFs. Start with 1. JEPI for monthly income. SCHD for consistent growth. FDVV for dividend plus tech exposure. DGRO for long-term compound growth. Pick what matches your goal. Income now, JEPI, growth later, DGRO or SCHD, balance? FDVV. The key isn't picking perfectly, it's starting. Because boring wealth building has one requirement, time. Every month you wait is a dividend payment missed, a compound opportunity lost, a step away from financial independence. Harry's biggest regret? Not starting sooner. Not because he missed gains, because he missed the peace of dividends hitting your account, the peace of not checking prices, the peace of boring, predictable wealth building. While everyone else rides the roller coaster, dividend investors ride the escalator. Slower? Sure, but escalators don't drop 50% overnight. Here's your action plan. First, pick one ETF, just one. Don't overcomplicate. Need income? JEPI. At 8.41% monthly. Want growth? SCHD with 13 years of increases. Like balance? FDVV with tech exposure. Starting small? DGRO with the lowest entry point. Second, automate everything. Dollar cost averaging into your chosen ETF. Set up automatic deposits. Reinvest dividends automatically. Make it invisible. Third, ignore it. The hardest part. Let boring do its job. Fourth, track the income, not the price. Harry keeps a spreadsheet. Not of share prices, of dividend payments. Watching that number grow monthly keeps him motivated without the stress. The financial media won't talk about this. Boring doesn't get clicks, but check the accounts of actual millionaires, not the Instagram ones, the real ones. Dividend stocks everywhere, boring ETFs, consistent payments. They learned what Harry learned. Excitement makes stories. Boring makes millionaires. 2025 isn't about finding the next big thing. It's about buying the boring things that pay you forever. While everyone chases rockets, you'll build wealth one dividend at a time. One payment at a time. One boring, profitable, millionaire-making step at a time.